Good evening, y'all. Let's exhale again. So let's do that on three. 1, 2, 3. Let that be great. So this week we're having nachos, and I have a true crime story coming from for my man. And I'm drinking some orange juice and toast. Little Valentine hot sauce. I made my guacamole sauce. I put a couple different things in there, blended it up. So let's give it a try. So this story is going to be coming live to you from Nashville, Tennessee. I'm real good. I'm gonna a little bit more. Should just cut up some habaneros in here. I like mine spicy. But nonetheless, this story is about a young lady. She's 31. She was moving from Louisiana, and then she moved to Nashville, Tennessee, where she had some family members and friends who also migrated to Knoxville for a better chance and career-wise. She had a 12-year-old daughter. From a previous relationship that she was raising on her own. And they had a great bond. Her name is Cheryl. Miss Johnson to be exact. And Miss Cheryl enjoyed her life. She loved to help young people, especially people that came from broken homes, such as her daughter and herself. So about 2 months after she moved to Tennessee, which is actually the fourth biggest city in Tennessee, Nashville, with a small town feel. So that's where she went. She resided. She worked basically at a girls' group home or some type of detention center for kids, for troubled kids, as most people would say. And after work, she'd like to go and have a drink at the bar before she went home and tended to her child. So she wasn't quite a homebody, but she liked to have fun. That's good. So 2 months after she moves to Nashville, she meets this guy through her friend, a friend of a friend. So it's a mutual meeting. she meets this man named Timothy Wells, to be exact. He worked at he worked at like a plant, aka warehouse. So everybody was like, okay, he's a hardworking man. He's a good fit. Being that she had a child, just a working role model, positive. Did they be a great fit? They went on a couple of dates. They hit it off, and then they moved in with each other probably in 2 weeks. So, with that said, as time goes on, everything's great. And lo and behold, a 911 call comes in March. The call was made by Timothy, stating that his girlfriend had just got shot. He didn't know what happened. Send the ambulance immediately. So, dispatch is trying to figure out what's going on, who did it. Have you seen or heard anything? He's like, no, I was upstairs, blah, blah, blah. And so, they send out the police and whatever. I mean, the ambulance, and then the police show up because it's a body. So once they find out it's just a body, there's nothing more there's to do. They call the investigators. They come out. Oh, excuse me. They come out and they assess the scene. And there's blood on the counter. Soap knocked all in the sink. Nothing really out of place. I mean, there was some cards left on the table. Like they had just had a card game. It was currently like 2 a.m. at this time when he makes the call to 911. And so they bring Charles down to the station. Not Charles, but Tim. And they're asking him like, well, what's going on with the kitchen, And he's like, oh, my uncle and his girlfriend came over and we played some cards together. I'm like, well, what time did they leave? They left about like 1:30 a.m. So they bring the uncle in, they bring the girlfriend in, everybody gets talked to separately. And the uncle's like, well, everything seemed fine when we left. We were drinking, playing cards, having a good time. He's like, what time did you leave? He said about 1:30 a.m. And so everything checks out. So that they get the detectives get permission to get his phone records. So as they're going through Tim's phone records, they notice that he has a couple of text messages coming and going from an unknown number stating, I had fun last week, can we do that again? So they call up the number, and lo and behold, her name is Sierra. She was a side meal, a little snack, if you have it. And she was a new divorcee. She didn't have plans to be with Tim. She didn't want Tim to leave his girl. She was just having fun. And she didn't care if he had somebody or not. So, snack it up. How she living. So, they're like, okay, do you have an alibi of that night about 2, probably like, give or take 1:45 a.m.? And she's like, yeah, I was with somebody. I was with another man. Can we get his number? She's like, yeah, call him right on up. So they make the call to the man. He vouches. Yeah, they was together. They was being intimate during that time. They was in the bed. So they just were like, okay, we need to bring Tim back in because they just learned about this lady. They didn't let him know that they had just learned about this lady. And so they bring Tim back into the investigation room. It's good. And that's when they learn that Tim confesses that he accidentally shot his girlfriend. But he also stated that he was a multi-gun owner. So that wasn't the only gun he owned. So being that he was a gun owner, he should know how to handle a gun. Since Miss Cheryl never had a gun, never shot a gun, probably never went to a shooting range. So with that being said, they're starting to look at him like the number one suspect. But because he says, oh, well, I accidentally shot her, I was trying to put the gun back up on top of the refrigerator when we were going to bed, the remaining question was, when he originally made that 911 call, he stated that he was upstairs getting ready for bed. Upstairs. Not holding a gun, not accidentally shooting her. That's not what he said originally. So they're backtracking on his statement initially made in the first interrogation. And he was like, he didn't really say much. He didn't say much other than, it was definitely an accident. That's all he kept saying. It was an accident, it was an accident, it was an accident. But they had one more person to bring into the investigation room. Other than her family, like her immediate family thought, she said that they were doing decent. So they just took her word as bond and just thought everything was peachy keen over there. But her friend Mimi, it was Miss Mimi, that really put some lights on the case. When she was the only person that Miss Cheryl actually talked to about her relationship going on with Tim. She said that he would change her number frequently because he didn't want anybody to really have her number or have a way to get in contact with her. He would control what she wear, the colors, what she ate, what time she ate. Everything controlled. What kind of phone she owned. Basically had her on lockdown. So, the police are now looking at, okay, well, he's already cheating, so obviously he's feeling not in control of his relationship. And that was the way he could gain control. Not only just mentally or emotionally, but physical control. Control. So, I don't believe that Miss Sherelle knew that he was actually cheating, but she knew she was being suffocated. And so she made up her mind she was leaving. So whatever got said between her cleaning up, the uncle, the girlfriend leaving, she closing up shop in the kitchen. Charles states that all of a sudden the gun went off. So back to the investigation, the second one. He says he accidentally shot her, but he was sitting down. From forensics investigation of which way the bullet was aimed, going through and out her other side of her dome, it had shown that it was not, in fact, an accident. It was intentional. And he could not have been sitting down when he shot her. He would have been standing up, cornered to the back of her face, reaching up to shoot her. Bam. So, forensics came through. He actually was booked that day after he made the phone call to Sherelle's daughter, her 12-year-old daughter. He started off by saying he loved her and that he was the one that pulled the trigger and killed her mother. I feel bad for the girl because she didn't have no dad. That was like her only family was her mom. So it's just not fair, you know. Them kids. Just selfish. So anyways, after he confesses the murder to the girl, the baby girl, the police take his phone. They book him and charge him with second-degree murder. He makes bail. So after about 3 years of being out on bail, because he made bail like immediately, like about 2 hours after he went and was booked into prison, he was made bail. So he was just strolling around Nashville, Tennessee for the next 3 years, and basically year to date in March again 2022 they start the trial, and that's when they gave him 22 years in prison, day for day, which really isn't enough because he still was charged with second-degree murder because he knew what he was doing and he lied basically. And case studies show about 44,000 cases of suicide, all end in like gun usage. Take their lives with a gun. I say this to say that. If you have a gun in your home, I would get a lockbox so that not just anybody can access it, because you just don't know. You don't know what people are going through. They could be the social butterfly of the neighborhood, straight sad on the inside. You just don't know what people are going through. So that's it. And Charles, not Charles, I keep calling him Charles, but his name is Timothy Wells. He was currently, at that time when Sherelle and him met, she was 31, he was 44. I just felt like that was like too big of an age gap anyway. I don't like to say just date in your age group, but if age ain't nothing but a number, and you ain't trying to do nothing but some things, then do you, boo. Do you. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We cleared the plate today. I'm hungry. I'm real hungry. So, the things people do for love. And not everybody's willing to let go. That catch and release, sometimes it's a catch forever. So do be careful out here in these streets. Live your best life and do enjoy. Thank you. And let love lead the way. It's free. Enjoy yourself and see you next week.